Hi everyone, I'm Janet Baker, and on behalf of Paper Tiger and Ann McGurty, we want to thank you for attending today's webinar. Because we know that there are different levels of Paper Tiger users on the call today, we will be covering the basics for those that are new and then lean toward more advanced functions, and we'll try to cover as much as possible within the hour allotted. Just to let you know, there is a chat section and a question section in the lower right corner of your screen where you can submit questions. Note that there is a drop-down box for who you send your questions to, either to all attendees or to the presenters only. We will try our best to answer questions during the call today, but if we run out of time, we will be posting the questions and answers on our blog under the webinar category. This is also where we will be posting the webinar recordings as soon as they are available. Also, if you know anyone that needs Paper Tiger, we have started a 20% off sale, which will last through May 17th, so be sure and let them know. As a reminder, all attendees for today's webinar will be entered into Paper Tiger's new Apple iPad contest ending June 30th, and Ann has again graciously offered 30 free minutes over the phone for anyone interested in more professional one-on-one assistance. We encourage you to contact her. You would be surprised how much help she can be and provide in those 30 minutes. Again, we want to make our webinars as fun and flexible as possible, so feel free to let us know what you want to learn about for future webinars. You can send all feedback to us at sales, that's S-A-L-E-S, at thepapertiger.com, or you can always comment in the comment section of the webinar blog post. Now, to let you know a little bit about Ann McGurty, she is CEO of Strategize and Organize. Ann is a professional speaker, productivity expert, and author. If you want to learn more about Ann and her services, please visit her website at www.strategizeandorganize.com. She may be in Colorado, but she's nationally recognized as an expert and works with people throughout the U.S. in person and virtually to customize a system to help make their lives more productive and organized. Ann will be presenting today the life cycle of file management and also what she calls a reality webinar, demonstrating how to index your items into Paper Tiger, working through your inbox, as well as answering questions that have been asked during your webinar registrations. Ann, how are you today?
I'm doing great, Janet. Thanks for the wonderful introduction, and thank you everyone for being online with us today. I hope you walk away with some great tips.
Awesome. And I also, in the chat section here, I am pasting Ann's contact information so you can have that, and I will do this again for later in the at the end of the call as well. Okay, Ann, take it away.
Okay, great. Janet, I don't see your screen though yet.
Oh.
I'm just seeing the Paper Tiger Expert webinar.
Okay, hold on just a second. You should be seeing my screen with your information on it.
Okay.
Do you?
I see the chat information.
Do you see?
Oh, now I see it. Okay, there we go.
Sorry about that.
All right. Okay, hi. Okay, here we go, everybody. Well, welcome aboard. As you are learning about the Paper Tiger Online, one of the things that's completely different about this program is that it is a web-based product. So when it's a web-based product, the way you get into the program is by logging in to a URL that you are given when you sign up for the Paper Tiger. As you will see, it is titled app.thepapertiger.com, and that would open you up to the screen that we're currently seeing. It will then prompt you to a login information that would be assigned uniquely to your account, and in my case, it would be something like your name at your URL. So it would be like Ann at strategizeandorganize.com, and then you would have a specific password for you and any other users that you want to access your individual database. So then how do you start a PaperTiger database? Well, first, let me define to you what a database is. A database is for a specific location, a specific area where you want to contain files. For instance, if you are in an office environment, you would like to open up a database by creating a new database. So Janet, let's open up create a new database. And this database would be Ann's Business Office. Now I have a home office and I have a business office. So this would make it clear to me that this would be my office location in downtown. I've now created a new database. So all of my files at Ann's Business Office have a database so anyone at my office knows where to access my files. At my office, within my in my area, I would have locations, and locations would identify the types of files, the functionality of the files that I have. The basic locations with PaperTiger are using the concept of action files and reference files. So let's go ahead and add a location for action files. The location name would be action, and the location would be the right-hand drawer of Ann's desk. And capacity refers to how many physical files we think we could put in that drawer. And I believe in that drawer, it's a little drawer, so let's say there's going to be 30 items in there. In this particular case, I'm not going to refer to any review frequency because that's a little bit more advanced. So at another time, we can look at that. Now we have an action file drawer, and we're going to create a new location called reference files. So we're going to call this reference. And we'll describe this as the two-drawer cabinet behind Ann's desk. These are this is a deeper file drawer, so there's 100 items that can be put into that little file cabinet. And we're going to add this location. Now what we have are the two basic file locations for PaperTiger. These are the first steps that you would take in setting up your system. We're not looking at any paper yet, and all we've done is set up the logistics. With the PaperTiger, we can now print out labels to identify these folders. And the standard version comes with self-cut tabs, which is a little bit more rudimentary and it's a little bit more manual. So you have to cut the actual tabs and put them into tabs. But let's go with another one, which would be the Avery file folder 5167, which is a couple down. The PaperTiger has used the smart template of matching the file folders that are produced by the Avery File Company, and that way you can easily pick them up at your local office supply store and use those tabs and insert them or stick them onto the pre-existing tabs that you received when you purchased file tabs. In this case, what we're going to do is I'm going to give you action files. Let's look at those first. We're going to click those, and we are going to print out the whole batch of file tabs for that drawer. Now, I want to point out that if you were not using the Avery file folder, the Avery labels, you can just print off these onto a sheet of paper and stick them into your index tabs. But noticing that it's just a plain piece of paper, they're going to be kind of flying around because they're just one sheet of paper. So I highly recommend that you use the self-cut tabs, which would give you more room to, they have a folding area where it's a little bit more spread out when it's printed out. or go ahead and use the ASLE tabs so that you have a cardstock piece of paper that these are printed on. Now, I want you to notice that when you named the file, the location, this case was used as action files, and then it picks up the numerical number of 1 through 30 because that's how many files that we created. But see, the word files is going to be printed on the label. So when you're creating the location name, keep in mind what the name is because that's what's going to print on the label. So my preference may have been to just say action. So it'll be action 1 through action 30. And that way it's a little bit less cumbersome when you're reading the actual file label. So let's go back to the database, and how would we go ahead and correct the name of a location that we have? So what we would do is we would look at our location list like we have here. We would check the mark to the left of action files. Excuse me. We would click that area and go to the edit area, the little thing in red.
Either here or here.
There you go. And you have the opportunity to go back and rename the location to just action. And if you prefer that it's all in capitals, you can do it at this point as well. Then you save changes. And then when you go back to print labels, and again, I'm going to do the 5167 again, and then we're going to do the action. Let's see how it's a little cleaner looking. Generate the tab. And here you have a cleaner look for your the tabs that will go into the file folder. Now, once you have all those tabs ready, you can do the same process for the reference as well. If you have full sheets of paper, you can go back and print all the actions and the reference at one time. Generate tabs. And it'll print all of them together. Actually, can we go back a little bit up on that screen? I never noticed that before, but it will start a new page for the reference. So each location will have their own sheet of paper on the tabs that you generate. I'd like to have you, Janet, show the visual picture of what the tabs now would look like for the folders that we're now going to use. With the Paper Tiger, you're going to use the standard, I use the generic name of Pendaflex, but other companies make them as well. But visually, this is what they look like. Most people buy them in the basic army green folders, and you're just buying the outside hanging file folders. With the Paper Tiger, you can save your money and not have to buy the manila folders that you put inside of these hanging file folders, unless, of course, you're pulling out the files and transporting them or sharing the individual contents with people frequently. Then you would want to use individual manila folders, but it's not a critical thing, so you don't have to go out and buy extra supplies. This example here is color-coded, or using color, different color hanging folders. And, unless you really have a specific need to have multiple colors, I don't really recommend it because all it's doing is adding to your expense, and it's really not absolutely necessary. Later down the line, if you have different locations where you have like a whole cabinet full of finance folders, maybe those would be in a different color. Notice how the tabs are in the little white tabs on the left are the insert tabs that we end up using the action number 1 through 30. In this particular example, they have all of them to the left. And what I do is I position those inserted plastic tabs. I put all the odd ones on the left, like this one is right here, and then we don't have a visual of it, but all the even numbers I staggered just to the right. So they would be placed in the next folder just to the right of the previous file. And then I put all the odd ones on the left and all the even ones just staggered over one to the right. And that way it's very easy when you're looking down in your file drawer to see if anything seems to be missing. If number 5 is missing, you'll see that it kind of jumps a little bit. So keep it simple and clean for yourself and for other users. I also recommend that with the Pendaflex file holders, people tend to put the tab in the back of the actual file, and I recommend that you put it in the front. So all you do is pull that forward when you're going to retrieve the contents. When they're at the back of the file, it creates it's a very subtle recommendation, but it makes a huge difference. All right, that's all for the visual. Okay, so now that we have all of our tabs, we've generated them, you can then take all of those physical tabs, insert them into your folders, and then place them in the drawer. So you have a drawer of action files and a drawer of reference files. Okay, so now when you're creating a file, we're going to open up our action files. We're going to go to the Paper Tiger here. We're going to open a drawer, and here we're looking at the file drawer to my right. Now, many of you will be starting out with, let's say we're starting out with an empty drawer. And if you don't have an empty drawer, we can look at the contents and just start from the very beginning. So we're going to start with an empty, let's say we have a drawer that has contents in it already. Action number 1, we're going to pull out whatever might be in that drawer, and we are going to add a new file. And say when we added this new file, when you looked at it, it was addresses for a contact list of a group. Say, for instance, it's a leads group that you belong to. So we're going to call this Colorado Leads. And keywords would be, say, networking groups. And say referrals. All right. Action date is not going to be important to me right now, so we're just going to add that to the drawer. Okay, as I said, this is an existing drawer of files that we're now converting to the Paper Tiger. So that physical folder that you have in there right now, we're going to take all of those contents and put them into the hanging file called Action 1. So now you have all your information in that number, and it's retrievable through the Paper Tiger now. The next file you come across is Taxes 2010. And I'm being specific there, even though it's an action folder, I'm saying we're going to add a new folder. We're calling it Taxes 2010. And keywords is, it'll be the final tax return. It'll also be tax backup, copies of 1099s, copies of W-2s. And maybe property tax statements. Then we're going to go ahead and add to Action 2. Okay, number 3. The next file I came across is just a bunch of addresses, a bunch of business cards. So we're going to call that data entry. And we'll just say business cards, list of names from country clubs, and then we're going to add that to Action 3. the next file that I'm looking at, it's all my bills that I need to pay. I've been throwing it in an area called bills to pay. So let's name that item bills to pay. And keywords might be public service. It might be insurance. It might be hospital, doctor, and then maybe Macy's. All right, then let's put an action date in there because say I have a traditional job and I get paid on the 15th and the end of the month. So today is the 12th, so let's put on the 16th, the day after payday. We're going to have an action that I'm going to go ahead and pay my bill. We're going to add that to action 4.
Ann, excuse me, we're getting a lot of feedback. Is there somebody behind you or in your office?
You know, I hear it as well. I am in a stone cold quiet room.
Yeah, that's really weird because I have everybody muted, so it's really weird. Okay, go ahead.
All right, I'm going to maybe take off my microphone and talk. I'm talking directly into my phone. Is that better?
Okay. Yeah.
Is that any better?
I think it is, yes.
Okay, I just took off my headset.
Okay.
All right, technology is wonderful.
I know.
Okay, and thanks everybody for your patience. All right, so right now, what I've done is I had a very small drawer on my desk that had just 4, piles of files. And you can add every single file that's in your drawer just like I did there. The item name is very traditional to what you normally would refer to with a file. And keywords are words that you're going to think of the next time you may be looking for that file. So now what I want to do is I want to refer to a similar drawer called the reference location that we had set up. So let's go to the drawer behind me in this case, and look at that reference drawer. Is the echo gone?
Yes.
I think it is.
Sounds really good.
So, okay, sorry everyone for that echo, but thank you, Jan, for pointing that out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so your reference drawer. When I work with clients, the very first reference number that I always recommend is reference number 1 is going to be, I call it Strategize and Organize, because that's the name of my company. And I want to know that if there's any notes that they took during our session, that they always put it in there. So keywords are going to be the paper tiger, organization, filing, and usually my name, Ann McGurty. And then we add that to reference 1. And any notes or any, if they have any physical documents from their organization session, I end up putting all that information in there. Okay, reference 2. Let's create a new file for, I want to say taxes, I want to say taxes 2009. And then keywords, you saw the tax keywords that we used for 2010, so I'm not going to make anything else, but we just still have a historical. Why don't we put the keywords historical and final tax return? All right, then add to reference 2. Other items that you might put into a reference file is you might add a file there for warranties. And we'll call that warranties. And keywords might be manuals for computer, copier warranty. I want to point out here that I've used the word warranties and warranty. I have the word manuals as a plural because with the search function with Paper Tiger, I want to be able to look at manual or manuals and just have some good cross-reference numbers, cross-reference words. So let's add this to reference 3. And now you have just a couple of items in your reference drawer, as well as a couple of items in your action drawer. Now, the idea of Paper Tiger is to set up some time initially to go through your all of your files that you have existing, and then whatever is on top of your desk. Now, the best way to do it is to start out with a clean slate of what is workable and manageable files that you need to use right away. But as you're going through this first couple of drawers, you may realize you're going to come across some really old files. So let's set up another location. And we're going to call this new location Archive. And Archive, and then the description would be files in the basement or the storage closet. And capacity may be 100. And then add to this location. So as you're coming across the files in your drawer, and you're seeing that you're coming across some paperwork from a conference 2007 in Palm Springs. So what you would do is you would go to the archives, that location, and create a new file and call it Conference 2007, and say keywords Palm Springs. And maybe, for instance, while you were there, you it was a seminar and a conference, and you saw something about how to be a better writer, how to be an author. So you might put in there, you know, exactly the material that you came across that you thought was handy. That just someday maybe you might want to refer back to it. But it's so bulky, it's really not worth taking the time space in your office right now. So we're going to add that to archive number 1. And now you're starting a new area to move files out of your immediate office. I recommend to my clients that when you're setting up your initial Paper Tiger system, that archive box is one of those, like the cardboard type of file boxes, thinker's boxes that you get at the store, and just start packing those to the side into one of those so you can bring them downstairs when you're ready, or store them in those file boxes for later on. So now you've got 3 primary areas that you're working with: your action, your reference, and your archive. And you can see now on my business office what different locations that I have. If someone else is ever referring back to your Paper Tiger, they will see that you have 3 separate areas where you file all of your information. Now, after you've spent your initial implementation of the Paper Tiger, of getting it all set up, the thing that makes people uncomfortable with filing paperwork is that they feel that it's out of sight, they'll never refer to it again. With the functionality of being able to run a report, at the end of the day, we can go to a report and do an item list report. And we're going to go to, on the far right, we're going to go to the right there, the Show Advanced Options. And what we're going to do is we are going to list the locations. But since we're doing all locations, the location is going to leave blank to display items in all locations. So we can do all of them. And then we're going to sort them by item number or item name. If you're uncomfortable with, if you do it by item number, it'll be the location and then the number. If you do it by item name, the entire thing will be alphabetically. And in this case, we're going to go ahead and do something in, let's do item number to start. And then we're going to generate an item list report. And what you have is at the end of the day, you will have a complete, and I love the word inventory. You have a complete inventory of everything that you've entered into your Paper Tiger system. And I also recommend that you create a hanging file folder in the front of each drawer and label it File Index and put this item list report for that specific area in each of the front of the drawers, so that if you're not looking at your PaperTiger system, you can look at this report. And you will see, in this case, chronologically, what is in that drawer. So let's go back and do this report in alphabetical order. And we're going to go through and do it by item name. We're going to generate the report. And now you can see that location in alphabetical order, so that when you open up the action drawer, you can think, oh, where are my taxes? And you'll see that it's in action number 2, and be able to retrieve that file very quickly. All right, so now looking at action. Now when I'm looking at that, at the end of the 3 months from now, one of the questions I received from one of our registrants is, how do you keep up with all of this, and how do you do like a file clean-out report to say I've got to purge some of my files. We're going to go back to the reporting functionality. We're going to get out of the item list report and go down to what's called the file clean-out report. And let's say, for instance, though, I want to look in my action drawer because it seems like I don't have that many projects going on. So let's drop down to the location action. And I'm just going to look at that one drawer. And I don't care if it's an item number or item name, but let's take a look at that report. And now what I have is a full inventory of that drawer. And I love this report because what it does is it gives you a chance to think about what's in your drawer without getting all caught up at looking through all the material within the file. You can print this off, go aside and have a cup of coffee, and think about what's in those files and what you want to do with them. The PaperTiger immediately reminds you, well, is it something you want to review? Is it something you want to toss, saying there's no reason for me to have this anymore? Or transfer to, or do nothing. Now, you physically are going to print out this report, and I'm going to give you 2 examples of things that we're going to do with this. When you print it out, your action file number 1, I am going to say, during my coffee break, I'm going to check off a little box under toss, because maybe I'm no longer part of that group. And I don't really care about anything that was in there. I found out it wasn't a good match for me. So I'm just going to throw out that file. On taxes 2010, well, we all know that we're into 2011. So I want to use the functionality there of transfer to, and I'm going to handwrite transfer to reference. So I'm just going to put the little note in there, reference. On the other items, there's nothing on it. So under data entry number 3, I would just check my little box saying none. And then bills to pay, I would just check none, because that's something that's ongoing and we're not going to worry about. So after my coffee break, I can now go back to my PaperTiger, close out this report, and open up my database and start doing some work. So I'm going to look up a keyword, taxes. And when I looked up the keyword taxes, 2 files popped up. And one of them was my action file of Action 2, which is 2010. And I indicated that I wanted to transfer that to my reference files. But you see in my reference area, I only have a taxes 2009. So do I want to include it in that, or do I want a separate file folder? Well, I want to do a separate file folder. So I check that box, I hit transfer, and I'm going to move it to a new area, and the new location is going to be my reference. And then what I'm going to do is my phone's kind of busy since I got back from my coffee break, so I want to have a confirmation of this transfer. So I'm going to say I want a confirmation, but let's move this item and do what was in my head just now to move it. Okay? Now what you see here is that under the status of that file, it says transfer out is pending. So let's go back to my action location area. And you'll see here again that on the far right column, it shows that the transfer out is pending. So that means physically we have not yet moved that folder out of that drawer and moved it anywhere else. Let's say it's been quiet and you took that and you wanted to say, now where was I moving that to? You go to the confirmation area list on the icon to the right, and you see that you've made some changes and it's going from action 2 to reference 4. So you want to go ahead and physically move it right now from the action drawer to your reference 4 and click on it, and it's now, you can confirm it, and the Paper Tiger is verifying that you will be moving it from this one area to the next. You confirm it, and now it looks like you have transferred all of your items. So let's search for the keyword of taxes once again, and then we search on it. And now you will see that we are in a reference drawer, and you have 2 files called Taxes 2009 and Taxes 2010. All right, let's go back to, we had a leads group. And darn it, I can't remember what the name of that folder was. So what I'm going to say was networking. Let's use the keyword networking, network. And then hit search. Ah, that was the name of my folder. See, it doesn't matter that you didn't remember that the name of your group was called Colorado Leads. By using the Paper Tiger's cross-reference of keywords, it doesn't, as long as you thought of those keywords when you were setting up the system, it'll direct you to the appropriate file. So what I realized is when I was doing my file cleanup report is that I did not want to have this file anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and toss it. So what I do is we go to the little trash can icon. And in this case, I'm done. I just want to throw it out. I'm pulling it out right now. And I'm saying I don't want a confirmation, so let's go ahead and toss it. If you'll notice, it doesn't linger on the screen at this time and say transfer pending, because by hitting no confirmation, the system will automatically take the action that you just requested it to take. So if you do have a busy office and you're going to be interrupted a lot during this transferring and tossing session, I want to make sure that you are using the confirmation function or not. And here, to confirm what's in your trash can, you can always see that you took that file and it was in the action area, and now it's in trash. Okay?
And
I want to go, there's another part of that function called merging files. So let's look at the keyword taxes. Now, once you hit that empty trash basket, know that you will need to set up a password so that you can really confirm it and double check your entries there. And once you empty the trash, there's no more history that you even had a file of Colorado Leads. Okay, for now what I want to do is I want to merge. And as I recall, I have a couple of files referring to taxes. So let's see what I've got out there and type in the word taxes. Hit search. And you know, I do have a couple of folders, and really they're not that big, and I just want to have a historical tax files. So what we're going to do is go to our reference location, and we're going to create a new file called historical taxes. And keywords might be 2009, 2010. And then we're going to add that file. And now what I'd like to do is I want to merge those. You can only do one at a time when it comes to merging. So you're going to highlight, I don't think we can do two, but let's, Janet's going to test me and put both of them on there. And we're going to go to the transfer area. We're going to merge them to a reference. And then the names of folders that you have in your reference files are listed. And we're going to merge them into historical taxes. And then we're going to say merge these files. We can do yes or no if you want to have a confirmation to make sure you do it correctly. Let's do the yes, because it gets a little bit more complicated when you're merging things. Let's go ahead and merge them. And it's merging into reference slot number 5. And what it did is it pulled all the keywords, including the name of the folders, from reference 2 and reference 4. We're going to merge the items. And they have now merged into number 5. But you can see that in the confirm area, we're going to look at the confirmation report. Everything from those two locations, 2 item numbers, are moving into reference number 5. You physically have now moved them, so we can go ahead and click it. We want to accept the transfer, and now it's caught up. So I wanted to point out to people that that is a real bonus, that you can now do 2 or 3 items and merge them into one file. So that is an added feature to the PaperTiger right now. So it really makes that file cleanout really easy. Okay, so right now we've talked about just some of the basics, how to transfer, to toss, and to merge files. And the people then ask, you know, how, let's see, I'm just looking at my time here. It's a quarter of, so I want to see if we have any questions on our screen here.
No.
Sure. Let's see if we have any questions.
Okay. Hold on just a minute. See if we can get this enlarged here. Here we go. Okay, can you see my screen, Ann, showing the questions?
I've got to move my little thingy up there a little bit. Okay, it's under questions. Okay, yes, I do.
Okay.
It's really tiny, limited to one little screen here. So, all right, is there any video? That question is referring to the video of this call, I would assume, and yes, there is a video on the PaperTiger website, which is recording this call.
Right. Yes, we are recording this call, and we will be posting this to our webinar categories under our blog. All of our pre-recorded webinars are already on the blog from our website, thepapertiger.com, and you go down under the category section under webinars. We also have a new page from our Why Paper Tiger tab, and under on that page on the left-hand side you'll see tutorials and training, so you can see all the training that we have available there. We have a lot of videos and tutorials from that is referenced on that page as well.
All right. I also see a question here from a woman. She says, lots of great information. Thank you, Joyce. And asking if this phone call will be recorded to review later. And as Janet just said, yes, it is. And I'd like for you to say that you can't keep up with all your notes. So I definitely welcome you to call me for a 30-minute phone consultation. And in that time, if you have any specific questions that you'd like to address, I'm more than happy to help you with that. So in addition to looking at the notes on the blog, you're more than welcome to call me. And my number is contact information Janet has provided. So the recordings are helpful. You can always call me. Does this work for non-paper things also? Steve, what a great question. Yes, it does. So let's go ahead and create a new location. We're going to go back and create a location, and people say for non-paper items. So we're going to go to locations, and a new location might be bank safe deposit box. And we can call it the Bank of America. In Main Street, USA. So we know where it is. And capacity, say you've got 20 items. And we're not physically making files here, but what we're doing here is we're creating a location for something, anything other than paper that you want to track. We're going to go ahead and open the bank's deposit box, and we're going to add items that you would put into your safe deposit box. So an item name may be passport. And then add to the bank's safe deposit box. And we might add another one. And it might be grandma's diamond ring. Add to the safety deposit box. And add another one, birth certificate. And we can say, you can add keywords in there, the kids, keywords,
Anne, did we lose your voice? Anne, are you there?
Whatever your kid's name.
I'm sorry. For some reason, our webinar audio got disconnected for some reason. So, but I think it's back now. Can you hear me?
I'm here.
Okay, I'm sorry. There was something wrong with the audio in the video or audio connection. I'm sorry about that.
Okay, no problem.
Okay.
We're going to go ahead and save the birth certificate information.
Okay.
And hit save and close. All right. So when we're going to go backing up, I want to just do a search later down the line, because 6 months from now, somebody may wonder, they may dug through the drawers of their reference files looking for their passport, but now they know that if they type in passport, that they can find it, that it's in their safe deposit box. People use the Paper Tiger to have locations for their CD collection. They might have locations for items when they're moving, so they're packing up boxes, and people get in a hurry when they're packing up for moving, so I recommend that they use the Paper Tiger and they identify their moving boxes as moving box 1, moving box 2, and in each one of those you create a location and you identify everything within that box. I'll give you an example of that. How many times have you moved and you're going through your linen closet and the box, so you might say linen closet and description. It may have 30 things in there. Good, Janet, reading my mind. You'll say moving box number 1. And maybe just put a big 1 on there, and then add this location. And then when we're going to pack, we go ahead and add these items. So obviously you're not going to be making labels for everything, but you're going to go in there and add new. Then you'll say bed sheets. to the closet. And you may add, you may have the electric blanket. That's a living closet. And then add a new item. I love this one, extra contact lens cases. And item 4, furniture polish. You never know what you throw in that dorm room closet. And the lens closet number 4. So say for some reason that you are delayed in your move, and your boxes ended up going to storage for a couple of weeks. So you really needed your contact lenses. All you have to do is look up contact lenses and find out that it is in your moving box number 1. So that's really just a super way of managing things when you're moving, and knowing that if you don't get to opening up your boxes very quickly, that you'll be able to find them in the interim before you get yourself settled. All right, so that was answering one of the questions about how to use it for something other than regular paper. So looking at other questions, to work for other than paper things, I hope, Steve, that answered your question. This person says, I am new to a position at work. Hi, Christy. You're new to a position at work and you have to do a major overhaul of the current filing structure with Paper Tiger. And your question is, what's the easiest way to manage moving files around? Okay, so as we went through in the beginning of this call, we went through each of the drawers, and I recommend that you inventory each drawer as a location and use a file name of the existing files for all of those files, and then do a file clean-out report like we did of all of the files that you input into the system. And then you and whoever else has users of that filing system can make group decisions of what is in those drawers referring to the file clean-out report. I'm currently working with a company, and there's 5 people in the department, and one of the persons who's been there for 28 years is no longer there. So we went through and did a file clean-out of all of the files, and everyone from the department is giving their input as to where they want to store, purge, or store any of those files. Christy, if you would like a little bit of extra help with that, with your organization, feel free to take advantage of my 30-minute free consultation to see if there's any specific issues that I might need to help you with. That might not be as obvious to you right here. Okay, next question. I purchased my version of Paper Tiger some time ago in 2010. The version looks different than mine. Are there updates to keep up the latest? It sounds like what you have, that person has the desktop version. If you could just email us about that specifically, we'll address it, because this phone call and conference is focused on our digital version, the online version. Okay, Deborah, look forward to hearing from you with a phone call. All right. Again, I have another question regarding the desktop version, but let's address those offline. We're happy to help. I've got one here for, I can't see the name. I think her name is Joyce. Thanks for the recording. It's awesome. I will also can't believe how easy it is to make simple changes. Thank you for making it so simple. Well, I'm really glad to hear you guys are enjoying the call, that you're finding it really easy to work with the Paper Tiger. And if you're listening to that comment and saying it's not easy, you're having a hard time, I just want to encourage you to pick up the phone and call me, and let me just guide you through it, because even though I offer 30 minutes, seldom does anybody need all that time, because it is so simple once we break through any big thoughts that you may have had that are stopping you from using it very easily and quickly. Well, we're almost at the top of the hour. We've got about 2 minutes left. So, Janet, I'm going to turn it back to you. And thank you all for your participation, by listening. And I hope you get into your paper tiger drawers today and get filing.
Awesome, and thank you so much for your time. I know that your webinars have been invaluable to help people use Paper Tiger more effectively and productively because of the feedback that we've received from people. So awesome.
You're welcome.